SEO this week. All right. Let's just get into it. No intros, no magic, no. All right, let's have a little bit of both.
Did you know a press release alone isn't enough? Visibility is key. You need a multi-platform strategy to share your story across news, audio, video, and social media. Welcome to Magic PR, where your press release transforms into a powerful media experience, maximizing exposure and engagement. We distribute your release to top outlets like Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, Business Insider, and more. Plus, your release is SEO optimized, ensuring better search rankings. But we don't stop there. We turn your press release into a podcast, distributing it across 25 platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Then, we create a social media content for Facebook, X, and Instagram, and even transform your story into a video press release for YouTube and top media sites. Video drives over 80% of higher engagement, and short-form content is king. We make viral videos for your YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and more. At Magic PR, we don't just publish, we amplify. Get your press release seen, heard, and shared everywhere. Visit magicpr.com today and take your brand to the next level. Back to you, Clint.
Okay, so let's see. First is let's get a little bit of news. One, I recorded all of this yesterday. Camtasia crashed, so doing it again now. So that's why you're a day late. Anyway, Google Business Profiles roll out a new interface for post. It's looking like that. I actually like it. I think it's a little bit more, you can play with it a little little more user friendly. So in regards to change, this is I think it's a good one. And yeah, I like it. Knowledge panel buttons. There's either a hack or something going on right now. But you can type in like Ahrefs. Maybe they fixed it by now since this has been out since 7:30. Well, 7:20. Let's see. Let's Google it. Let's go. Google.com. Ahrefs. Oops. Delete it. Ahrefs. Software company. I'm not even seeing the knowledge panel, so not in the same way that they're showing it. Let's find another one. John Deere. John Deere, we see. I don't see it, but we also don't see their whole Love and Lemons. We also don't see their whole screenshot. So maybe something changed. Maybe something changed. Maybe I'm not seeing it because keywords everywhere is influencing it. Who knows? But supposedly these are hacked. You can see the URLs are wrong on here, whether it's a hack or it's a glitch or they changed something. Let's look at here. Oh, there you go. UberEatsUSA.com. Error establishing connection. Let's go with John Deere. There's no URL. John Deere. What was the other one? Love and Lemons? Something like that. Love and Lemons. I don't see it. And then we'll do Ahrefs for giggles. So the Uber Eats one is still there, but the rest of these look like it has been addressed, deleted, or whatever. So that is interesting in so much as it could be a hack. I doubt it's a hack. I think it's probably they're rolling something out that has to do with the display of the knowledge panels. and maybe they were testing something or whatever, and then those got in there. But that's a really crappy test if it was a test, because why are these URLs associated? I mean, even with normal brands, let's take these brands. So John Deere is not a small brand. Why is that URL wrong? Even if it was a test. So whatever they're testing, it sucks. And AI mode is coming into, people also ask, and auto suggest. There's a couple instances of it. Everything looks like it's on mobile though. I haven't seen this on desktop, but I think it's pretty interesting because if you think about query spread or whatever, this kind of makes a little bit of sense that would actually be there. I wonder how it's going to do on tools that help you pull people also ask questions out, though. Is it going to interfere with them? But since this is mainly on mobile, I like I said, I haven't seen it on desktop version, but this is, and these all examples are all mobile. I don't know right now that it's going to be all that much of a game changer for anyone, unless you're relying on these question type things for traffic. And those are always hit and miss anyway. So that is what it is. All right, let's get into AI content. And really, when we want to talk about, we're going to actually end up giving you a way to write content. So this is one big ass tip video. But I want you to have the context behind it, etc., to understand why things that I've been telling you to do for years now are even more important when it comes to writing content. And if you're new here, this, buckle up. If you're old, you've been around for a while and you forgot, it's probably a good lesson for you. So first off, should you be using AI content? Number one, that's the number one question. There's plenty of fear mongers and et cetera running around talking about how content is dead, SEO is dead, blah, blah, blah. And these clowns are all doing it using content. So go figure. So first off, 5% of content, or businesses grow 5% faster using AI content. And the fact of the matter is because the speed in which you can deploy that content, you may not be relying solely and entirely on AI to write your stuff, but if you're not using it to actually get a baseline piece of content ready to go, you're missing out. And I will say that there are studies that say, here 65% of respondents believe AI content is better. But if you actually put it in front of them and say, hey, which one is better, they actually vote for the AI one and they engage more with the AI one. So they can tell you that AI content isn't any good and they believe that human content is better. However, what they do in their actions is slightly different. So while this poll does lean on AI content or human content is better, it's actually the opposite, where AI content is actually performing better. People were confirming better, converting better, etc. That was another study that we showed, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, probably 3 weeks ago at least. So use AI content. Don't be afraid of it. Don't let these clowns on the internet who are all fearmonger marketing tell you that, oh, it's bad. AI is good as long as you don't let it run wild. And remember that it's a generative AI system. All of them are, and they make stuff up. So you can turn on things like deep research, etc., and get a better output from it. But at the end of the day, there's still a lot of make stuff up in there. So before you hit publish, read it, review it, edit it, and you're going to be just fine. The search engines are okay; they're cool with it. So let's get into how do you structure it, and what I want to talk about here is question, answer, citation, So what? So what is it? What's it about? What's in it for me? And the idea here is how you're going to structure your content, because we'll get into chunking. Well, most of these articles are all going to talk about chunking, and is essentially, if you look at how the newer models are pushing out content, you'd have you ask your question, and then it gives you the answer, and then it gives you a citation. And then if you ask it to, like, what do you do with it? So what are we testing? That's the question. To steer, we're primarily testing two pieces of puzzle. We're testing this. So this is part of a chunk. 1, 2, and then why? Why is it important to do it? And what's in it for me, right? So what is it? What's it about? What's in it for me? The second thing you want to do is use a Q&A format or a structured content format. When I say Q&A, what are testing content styles? What testing content styles were used in this test? And then you can expand upon that, or you can use testing content styles. But in my example, we're going to use Q&A. So what testing content styles were used? What testing content writing styles were used in this test? Or what content writing styles were used in this test? And then you can immediately answer dense prose structured content Q&A. And then you can cite, like, what is dense prose? What is structured content? What is Q&A? And then what's in it for me? Like, why did I test those things? So dense prose, for those that don't know, is like long form content, larger paragraphs, etc. Structured content is dense prose, but you're using headings, items, lists, and tables to add structure to it. You're just not going, Jesus, take the wheel and writing this big ass piece of content. There's a purpose to it. And if you understand structured content, you understand outline. So if you ever did research papers in school, you have introductions, then in your headings, and then your conclusion. That's how you need to be writing your structured content. And every heading has to be related to your primary topic. So if you're writing about Phoenix SEO, you do Phoenix SEO agency in a heading, Phoenix SEO company in a heading, that kind of thing. And make sure that that's a bad example, but you make sure that your content has an outline before you even begin writing. And then if you really want to nail it with gangbusters, you actually do a Q&A format. We're going to see a couple examples because there's some articles written about this topic in that format. And I think it'll hit home better. The other thing is the amounts of words inside of the content, how it's based, token based, text based, HTML aware, semantic chunking. And so in the words it's another post. It was 300 to 500 tokens, which, you do the math and figure out the word count, and that's how big your chunk should be. This is actually good for you because now you can know, using the Q&A format, write a outline for Phoenix SEO, or let's get one better. Write an outline for how to unclog a toilet using the Q&A format. And then when you write the article, using the outline provided, limiting yourself to 300 to 500 tokens per section, write the article. And you can push out something that's actually fairly decent. Now, obviously, that prompt that I just gave you was probably overly simplistic, but overly simplistic sometimes works. So what I want to leave you with this one, and we're going to move on, is that here's a Python script to build all of the stuff that he's talking about in here, so you can test this yourself and come up with some conclusions, see if you agree with them, your test results. You can mirror it and try it on your niche and play around with it. Maybe 300 to 500 tokens is not enough. Maybe you need to do more for your market. Maybe you don't have to do as much. You can do less, and you can write shorter article pieces. And that's where the testing comes in, and having the Python script that they use to do that is actually really cool. So let's move on. chunking, crawled, not indexed. There's a lot of stuff in here, but really at the end of the day, what we're talking about is the 1 to 300 tokens. I said 3 to 500, but it's actually 1 to 3. And then here's your semantic tags. You can go, you can go a little bit beyond this when you're creating these chunks, right? So let's say you want to play around with semantic HTML. You can have a section, or you can have the article tags, and in there you can break up your 5 sections of your article into sections with section tags. And then you use the H2s, H3s, lists, and paragraph tags inside of each one of those sections, and then close out the section. And build it that way. That is one way to test this out. That's not necessarily built into like WordPress. So if you're using that, you can ignore all that I just said. But if you're doing this with some pure HTML, if you're doing pure HTML, you're a sadist anyway. So why not add sections and articles and sections and these tags and play around with this? And this is essentially what this looks like. This is Markdown, obviously, but there's the question, there's the answer. The question, there's the answer. This is simplistic chunks. You can get bigger or more, and then here's some of the understanding in regards to the tokens. Like 1 token equals 0.75 words, for example. You can ask the actual AI. Well, he's got it right here, so you figure out 128 is 96,000 words. So you kind of do the math on that a little bit. And then you can say, how big can my chunks be? And we're doing this, one for writing content, one for search engine optimization in regards to Google and Bing, and one for search engine optimization in regards to the AI models. So we want them to pick this stuff up. And Google launched passage indexing years ago, have patent on it, and et cetera. And essentially all we're really talking about here is passage indexing. We want Google to find passages in our content and to show it in the search engines and rank the pages. And we also want the search engines built in with the AI to rank those passages and to show us inside us the sources. So that's essentially what we're doing here. So this is all search engine optimization. And then there's some other stuff here, some more follow up in regards to that. But really, at the end of the day, what we're talking about is building these content chunks. This is a little bit more, but if you're doing this for AI or for products, they did a study and they asked some questions. You can do this for your market too, but simulated questions and then what the queries the AI tools did, and it kind of matches. So if you're writing product descriptions, you're writing your schema, etc., what is the price? What is the materials made from? Are there customer reviews and what sizes are available? And when you're doing your product descriptions and your schema and building out your product listings, you want to have that. And you can see here this nice example of that being applied in regards to this particular e-com search. So as I said before, e-com and AI mode is probably going to be your friend if you're in e-com space. So I would get on that and make sure that's good. So check out this thing and then find questions and see if in your market things are getting answered the same way. Next, I want to leave you with this. If you see here, these are essentially entities. So they created a glossary. I don't like this particular section. The deployment I'm not really cute with, but essentially what you do is, and I showed this on SEO Intel. And I stopped that project when my wife got sick. But essentially, you do create a glossary, put your terms in here. These are tags. Set up your interlinking so all mentions of them are shown. And then people can go to the tag page. And obviously, this should be AI marketing, not AI or not content marketing. And then you'd have a brief description of what that definition is, and then you'd have all the posts that were linking to that are tagged with that particular tag. And it's a good way to knock out your internal linking, and you build a knowledge base. Essentially, think Wikipedia. WordLift are the first people to start doing that. They had a plugin, and it created vocabulary on your website and partially off. And they're the lead in that. They still do that, as I understand, but the pricing in here, I checked yesterday, it's almost like $900 a month. So most people aren't using WordLift, but you can still implement the ideas behind it. You can even do this Lightbox thing. There's a plugin to do the Lightbox thing. I have to figure the name of that out now. Remind you guys, or let you guys know if you want to do this. I mean, it's cool, but if I'm going to implement this, that I really want them to go to the page and then look at maybe different articles in regards to that too. I don't necessarily want this. You know what I mean? So. But that's personal preference. ROI, SEO, all this content chunking, all this tags, etc. Like, what does it really matter? I'm not going to delve into reading this post out or anything, but this is really good if you're doing proposals, etc. Is to have something like this here. Have a whole section on the ROI of SEO and AI era, because your prospects and your clients are hearing other SEOs cry about how SEO is dead, how Google killed SEO, blah, 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 right? And it's scaring the piss out of them. And I don't know, like, really what is the purpose of that. No, I will say that most of the people that are doing that are typically the enterprise folks who don't live and die by their client list, and they sit in their comfy little corporate office chairs, being little bitch boys, and get the parrot on social media to make themselves feel better. So they're the ones that are driving a lot of this. It started with when the AI content came out, you're going to get penalized, and AI detectors. And then when everyone realized that they were full of crap, they just pivoted to something else. And now SEO is dead, and, et cetera. So you want to have that addressed in your, like, if you're marketing for your boss at a small business, or you yourself as an owner of a small business, you understand how to get the ROI out of SEO, and the pros and cons of PPC versus SEO, and time, et cetera, and the value of it. And this is a real good article to put that together for yourself, so you have a better understanding in regards to your market as well. So check this one out. Next is this is like, what, if you know how Semantic Mastery does directories. So they have a niche, they'll build a niche directory, and then they'll put a whole bunch of links on there. It's really good, especially if you're a niched out SEO, to have a directory. And you put that together and supplement it with ads and get some ad revenue from it. You can supplement it with sponsored links. You can use it as an outreach thing for potential clients. Well, this guy's really, at the end of the day, he's bitching about it. And there's an agency that built this. I found this site, and it's really smart, and it's built off the same model that UpCity, Crutch, and all those other ones built their websites. This he's all bent up about it and calling it AI. Essentially, he's blaming AI because people are creating these and saying, they're doing it just for AI. And then Google is rewarding them. The fact of the matter is, Google has rewarded directories for years. It's always astounded me why in local service business listings, there's mostly directories. A search engine is referring you to a whole bunch of other search engines to find a plumber, or to find an SEO agency or a PPC company. I never grasped it, but to this day, it still works like gangbusters, and this is a good example of that. We can go. I want to search this to see best PPC, best pay-per-click companies. We'll go in here. Best pay-per-click companies. And I want to show you that site if it is. There it is. Design Rush. These are the ones who made it. It looks, and it's perfect. It's beautiful, right? This isn't spam. This is what's been working for ages. It's a good business model. You can create ads, put ad space on here. You can pay for the listings. You can pay for premium features on the listing. Like you can enhance this out a little bit. Let's see. You can enhance this whole thing out some and charge them to add more, like add more to your portfolio, add a video, embed your map. You can monetize this pretty good. And this is all in a business of itself. Upcity and Crutch, they started out like this with the intent, I think, to do lead generation, and it turned into such a big moneymaker for I wouldn't doubt that it's the primary moneymaker for their business. But they have a SaaS behind that and some other stuff too. So I'd keep an eye on what these folks at Design Rush did, how they built this out. And if you're niche down, make a directory for your niche. Will it rank? 100%? Who knows? More than likely, probably not. But at the end of the day, it's probably also worth it. I mean, if it's working for them, it's probably going to work for everyone. And I don't know that this guy truly believes that that's spam. Maybe this is just a good content play. But this is the kind of the negative crap that I was warning you about in regards to this, right? It's not, he's blaming it on AI, and it's 100% been in place way before AI ever came onto the picture. So. Early testing in AI mode, sequential pops. I'm going to go over this a little bit more when we do the AI mode stuff, but at the end of the day, you're just measuring the average domain rating of the URLs that are cited and the types of URLs that are cited, and query stacking. I've gone over query stacking a lot, but I just wanted you to see Dan's perspective on it. He's really good. I like him. He puts out some great information. So check it out at your leisure. As a tool, ChatGPT is adding the UTM parameters. So if you open your canvas and you see the citations and someone clicks on this, there's actually a UTM parameter in there to help you track where if your traffic is coming from ChatGPT. I think that's a good feature, and you can use the previous Looker Studio reports that I've shared in the last couple of weeks in regards to visualizing your traffic. If all the LLMs did that, that would be awesome, and it would give us a better picture. So keep it. It's good while it's lasting, while it lasts. Another tool is a free SEO forecast template. SEO forecasting can be a little bit of luck, educated guessing, and hopes and dreams. So here's just another template to try that out and see if it works for you in your whole prospecting system. I like doing SEO forecasting in part of the process. Prospecting, like you're reaching out to them. Here's what you potentially could be missing out on, but you do not want to use that, in my opinion, as here's what we're going to do for you position, because all those numbers in the traffic volume, et cetera, are really subjective. And if you're basing it off of their traffic, you really take what they're getting now, and then you're adding subjectivity to essentially what they read into it is it's a guarantee. This is what I'm going to get you. And in a perfect world, that's what exactly is going to happen. But as we all know, it's not a perfect world, and SEO is an imperfect pseudo art science project. So be careful with SEO forecasts. They're good. People like them. People want to see them, but just be careful with them, because if you over rely on them and oversell based on them, your turn rate is going to be really crazy high. Next is an MCP that integrates with Moz. So you're essentially using Moz data via this MCP to do your SEO analysis and get some more realistic data. You kind of eliminate a little bit the idea of AI making up the numbers. You can see the free source code is right here. He provided it for you and how to use it and some use cases. There are actually a bunch of these out. I looked up one for Search Console. There's an MCP for Search Console. So you can have conversations using the MCP with your Search Console, find opportunities. So something to think about. Next tool is this was a Looker Studio dashboard. Looks like this. There's actually 3 dashboards inside of it, and it's breaking down questions and keywords based off of who, what, when, where, why, how, and can and near me. And so I think these are useful, especially if you're looking at your existing content and you want to work on it. The value of this post over a lot of the others is they actually went so far as to tell you, here's the settings, here's the things you can change inside of the reports, etc., that I think you will really appreciate. And this tool is a on-page AI content check sheet. Everyone's making these. At the end of the day, they are great for testing. This is on a Google sheet, it really is broken down right here and just put into a check sheet format. So I wouldn't call this the ultimate anything. I would just say it is a checklist based off of what her created, and then you have to actually check it out and see if it works or not. I like these. They're good testing fodder, and you can play with some stuff and combine stuff and see what works and add it to your toolbox. And Copilot Vision is added into Windows now, so you can use Copilot to talk to your software. A good use case here is if you're using Adobe Photoshop, you can have Copilot coach you through how to do something like remove the background and select this section and change this section, etc. So that's available if you're a Windows user. I haven't tried it on my Windows computer, but I don't like opening that thing very much. And then this is an on-crawl post. This 5 advanced keyword techniques. And really I wanted to highlight this. Breaking down your content into multiple pages is to reduce the long form. Remember that you don't need to do long form. You can. It's not going to hurt it. But if you use a content chunking thing, then you're going to be a lot better off. But also the users, I don't know about you, but I don't like reading stupid long things. So if you can make it more concise, put it into chunks, and I'm more than likely to engage with it a lot better. And that's just me, right? And then entities, semantic keywords on your page, and schema markup. And a lot of people now are talking about schema markup like they just discovered it. That's all cute and all. But be very careful in regards to the recommendations, like FAQ schema. Google's not showing it anymore. It's not to say you don't want to use it, but Google is not showing it unless you are a government site or a high authority health site. So do better. Don't do schema just for rich snippets. To do it to tell the algorithm what your page is about. And then go after your money, your life, the long tail content. This is all old school stuff, and some content gaps are relevant. So that's not a bad post. All right, let's get into questions. This one was deleted. I don't know why, but he's essentially what this guy did was he bought a domain. and he immediately had a whole bunch of spam on it. And if you have a domain right now, you've probably seen it. There's buy links spam that's on there that a lot of people are doing, and there's like 100 of these domains that have this buy links thing. And essentially what they're doing is instead of doing outreach, they got a whole of a list of domains in there, building a link to all of these domains with the anchor text, and hoping that you will see the backlinks in your anchor text report, and then reach out and buy links for them. Personally, for me, I mean, that seems stupid. Like, why would you do that? In so much as if I'm a savvy enough link builder, and why would I go and give money to the guy that's essentially nailing my website with a whole bunch of junk links, and trust him with my money to build real links, right? I wouldn't do that. But that is what it is. So yes, I would say that you should disavow those as a matter of course. And you can actually go to, find a whole bunch, or go to your Namecheap account or your GoDaddy account and find your your domains that you're not using right now. And these links will be there. And you can build a nice disavow file based off of the patterns that they're doing. And you can also see it in some of it in your Search Console reports, and build a nice disavow file. This is my universal disavow file, and head us off at a pass. Are these gonna hurt you right now? I don't think so. There's in his case, he only had like 20, so it's not hurting you. But the disavow file and having it in there I think it's a trust signal, and it's like, hey Google, I'm paying attention to this, and you just check off that one more trust box versus not doing it. So I say do the disavow file. If it's not hurting you to have those links and you do the disavow file, it's not hurting you to do the disavow file. And if it is hurting you to have those links and you did the disavow file and that helps you, then you've not wasted your time. So I don't see too much of an argument for not doing disavows anymore. Just, as that trust signal, to me, that's kind of really what I'm going for. AI crawlers for JavaScript. In this regard, is server-side renderings in place, and so and AI tools are notorious right now for not crawling JavaScript. They don't render it. So how do you handle this if you have a server-side rendering in your JavaScript heavy site? I would say that would be a good use case for having the LLM text on there. There's nothing that says that those things use that. It's like a third party standard that was created in hopes of. But if you have a pure JavaScript site and the AI sites are not picking you up, what do you have to lose by creating an LLM? The other one is a pre-render IO as a temporary thing. My guess is if you fire up like a pre-render IO, you're just going to end up paying for it forever. But if the site's making money for you and is paying for that service too, then I think you'll be okay with that. But I think it's at this point, as prevalent as JavaScript is, I mean, even Google crawls JavaScript now and fires it out. Sometimes they do it. There's some cases where they shut it down, but I haven't seen any reports of that in quite some time. But there have been instances where they don't necessarily crawl it all the time, or they'll come to your site, see one version, and then come back and see another version with the JavaScript fired off and stuff like that. And that'll slow down your ranking as you initially launch your pages and stuff. But for the most part, in regard to these new AI search engines, there has not been any official release from them saying whether they're crawling JavaScript or not. You can look at your user agents or your logs and your server logs, et cetera, and see that they've been there, but you can't. It doesn't say, hey, rendered HTML, rendered JavaScript, rendered this. It doesn't tell you that. It just says it was there. So the only indication you're probably going to have is that your stuff is not in the AI, right? So why not? If we assume the worst is that they're not crawling JavaScript, which is the side that I would lean to as well, then you need to find a solution to show those bots HTML pure versions, do some like stealth SEO a la Copilot, or it's essentially just cloaking based off a user agent and IP. You can do that. Probably better to do it based off of IP than user agent, because a lot of people spoof user agents, and then show them the like a text only version or a pure HTML version that doesn't have JavaScript, just for the purposes of the AI crawlers. That would be a good thing to try out. And this is a question from Matt Armstrong or Tom Armstrong, and I'd love to know what you think of AI mode. So let's get into it. I want to do this first. Boom. Oh, reply, hit thumbs up, and then I can close that. So AI mode. Let's go into AI mode. I'm going to go to Google. And I got to switch my account. Okay. And refresh so I get to see AI mode. What the hell? I had it yesterday. Now you're playing games with me. Let's go. AI mode. I wonder why it's not here. Oh, I know. It's not changing. Bear with me. I'm trying to get it to work in here. And the reason I'm trying to do that is because the Google has something in there that is that what am I looking for? The ghost browser that I use doesn't work properly with it. I'm trying to. All right. I'm not gonna fuck around. I'm not signing in front of you guys, and I'm not taking the time to edit that out. All right, so meet AI mode. What do I think of it? Let's go comparing memory foams versus hybrid mattresses. This is why I think that this is really awesome there's affiliate options that are going on here, and there'll be some product stuff as we go into it, right? So here's a foam mattress. Here's a comparison table. If I was writing an article about foam mattresses, damn right, that comparison table will get copied and pasted into that article. And then expanding on this a little bit more, adding some more information to it, or adding different information to it, maybe adding a couple new rows, etc. And then the sites over here are, I think, a good representation of what's actually in the search results. So if we did, what was make a memory foam match, make a table. We don't want to do that. We want to search for something. Staycations I can do this summer. So we see those, and there's those, right? So I'm going to go to Google. What are staycations I can see this summer? And let's see, simply holistic wellness. see if it's in here. Scrolling. See that one in here. Let's go Bliss Lights. I don't see Bliss Lights in here. I wonder if there's another. Scrolling. Yeah, I don't see this in here either. Let's go Reddit. I mean, that's too easy. Let's see. Bliss Lights, Cozy House, Simply Wellness. I don't see any of those in the first 3 pages, which is pretty interesting. I say it's interesting because we'll see. I'll show you another example where this mirrors pretty well, but in the travel space, obviously it doesn't. Let's ask it a new question. Let's go here. What is MCS server? This is the one I did yesterday when it crashed. Can I create a server? There we go. What is an MC server? And WorkAS, KView, Medium, right? You can see all of those in there. So we ask Google. We ask Google what it is here. There's Reddit. There's the Medium article. There's the K2 article. Pipe. What was the other one? There's 2 Reddit articles. Klein is on page 2. Scroll down. There's the Klein article. Cloudflare I never saw when I was looking through here. So that's an authority site they found relevant content on that for whatever reason it didn't rank for the term, but they're happy with it for AI mode, which is weird. So there's some opportunities there for you, especially if you're working with a authority site. You can AI mode, you get some exposure you wouldn't necessarily get. And then cursor and hugging face are in the search results. So they're pulling from page 1 and page 2 and then adding a little bit of obscure. And that is the norm that I see. You saw that travel one where there's none of them. I've never seen that, but that's pretty interesting. So there is some opportunities there, right? If you're using regular search versus the AI mode and you're in one but not the other, I mean, you can still get some traffic out of it. As users get more savvy, they're going to see that this isn't any good. Or it needs to be validated, and they'll get used to using this for validation. If you ask follow-on questions, you'll get some more sites. If I kept going, is the more on point your question is, the broader your question is, the more sites you get. The more on points, the less sites you're going to get. So there's an opportunity there for long tail. And then for local, this was actually bitched about by Ted Kabitis. Where's my page that I did a search? Yeah, here you go. So I said, help me find a Phoenix agency that does an SEO agency in Phoenix that does consulting. That's the question I asked. And then here's Digital Ear right here. And Ted Kabitis will complain because it goes to the map and it doesn't go to your website. Fact of the matter is, maps actually generate a lot of calls and traffic, or a lot of calls and traffic to your website and or to your business. So this all roads lead to me. So here's my phone number, here's my address, here's my website. And you trust this, you're going to engage, you're going to click something with it. And I think that is a benefit for local agencies. They can double down on this and make their maps better. And I think it'll do good. Also, I just launched the SEO consulting page on my website like a couple of days ago, and it's already in here. It's already moved up pretty high. So I think that's also a benefit. And then you get some more of the local maps cards in here to trigger that out, and some more, another maps view. And then you notice that it stayed there. And then you have some more websites like what is SEO, and a lot of this does mirror. And then there's some news sites that are not in the search results. And as you see, the more narrower I get, the site count goes down a little bit, which is, I think it's an opportunity. If you get into the query thing and you're so far down that you don't see a lot of sources, answer that question in the sources in this content check. Look, we just circled back to content chunks. There's the question, here's the answer, and why. The citation / what is it, what's it about, what's in it for me. It's the what's in it for me part is in the citation. So if you create content in this format too, potentially you can get cited a lot better using the content chunking process. So all right. So today this is working. So maybe there was an update yesterday where I was asking questions. What is high quality content? Let's see if it'll do it. What is content chunking? Yeah, see, it crashed in Ghost. It does it every time. So there's something, if you're having problems with it, you need to not use like a Ghost browser or a Celium or whatever like that. I'm using Ghost. That's what it does in Ghost. So just be careful with that. But it does work in Microsoft Edge. For whatever reason, it wouldn't let me switch over to something going on with the Edge browser. And I'm just not saying it in front of you guys. All right. With that being said, I did say that I launched a SEO consulting page on the website. There's been a lot of people reaching out to me asking for, do I take money for consulting? Do I do consulting and all that stuff? So I did create a page for it. It's a mix of a landing page with information content on it and also a landing page to buy. So check it out. I played a little bit with the content chunking stuff, and we'll see how it does in the long run. But you can see down here, $200 per hour. You can book a whole hour. I've already had a couple people or a few people sign up. One of them, as a matter of fact, we're talking about SEO Neo. I'm going to do that. Other people have talked about like Anita here, when she hired and paid for consulting services forever, and we turned our news section into a moneymaker on our website and that kind of stuff. Or you want to just invalidate or get reports from your agency and you want to check that out, and etc. Plenty of use cases for getting SEO consulting. Schema, you want to learn schema. I have schema questions, and we put together, work together for an hour and figure that kind of stuff out. But click continue down here, you book an appointment time, and then it'll walk through, you pay your check, and then everything, you lock in the time, you get the emails and all that stuff. And I think I have it pretty seamless now. So check that out and help me pay the bills around here. And with that being said, thank you very much for joining me at SEO this week. Again, this would have been out yesterday, but my software crashed and I lost the recording. So here we are.